And it grown to the point of, like after 5 years, it grew to the point where we were able to actually start a residency, where instead of working with like artists, one evening a month, we were able to work with them for like 6 months, and they were able to develop an idea over 6 months, and that was like 3 residents. Now we have, for the past 2 cycles, we've had 5 residents, and we're supporting them for an entire year, and they are knocking us on our asses. Those are 2 of them right there.
Yes.
It's just amazing. So the love of being able to actually support people and just like watch them do their thing and just sit back and just be like, damn! It's just, that's a lot of it. But of course, there's definitely the monetary thing, and we want everyone on the planet to like know about all these folks, and we want them to support financially so they can do this full time. so that's really what I've been working towards, and that's what I'm about.
Man, that's a beautiful vision. You spoke on something about Black artists just keeping wanting to get together and be weird or express. And to me, I think of that as expression, right? And weird is so cool, to me at least. And that's what hip hop was, It mixed in the music, the language, the messaging, mixed in the fashion. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Calid B got his Afro bang on, you hear me? but hip hop, man, hip hop really was kind of like that supernova, you know what I'm saying, that really affirmed collective individual expression. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of what we're talking about is global, but at the same time it's also niche, I think anything in 2023, I think anything could fly as long as you can find the niche audience. There's so many people out there with different things that they want to do, that they want to see, and you can throw a rock and find somebody who feels the same way. You know what I'm saying? Because we are all versed like that. So Jonathan, I want to bounce back to you. Can you talk about how technology, how that's kind of helped shape, from the 80s, from you shooting and also dabbling in music, because you do music as well as being a filmmaker. But can you talk about how technology, maybe in the last, because it's just sped up so fast in the last 10 years or so, can you maybe talk about how that's kind of helped this brand with developing Afro Futurist Weekend and also developing a lot of the things that were housed in Elastic?
Well, yeah, I'll actually kind of answer a little bit of that with an interesting little anecdote. There's been a lot of little promos that I've been doing for Afro Futurist Weekend and for the Dark Matter series and everything we have. And the funny thing is, like, I come from the world where, we're using these large cameras and entire army of people to get something done, all this. And, there is all this really hip, crazy, fun stuff that you can do on your phone, which is just, insane, and just very visually rich. And it's so funny because I ran into one of the little promos from Afro Bang that you guys used to take me. I was like, what the heck? Like, that is hot. Yes. And then the weird thing is, I don't know, maybe my phone was listening to me, but later that day, I tripped upon the actual app that you all use.
Sponsor that.
And I was like, oh, this is great. Because he can, just like you said, he can do his thing with it. I can do my thing with it. Right. We ain't no competition. Everybody's looking great. And
that's it.
And so there's just a lot. It's a big playground.
If I can interrupt you real quick, so we got some wonderful people that have come out to get information. So can y'all share this app and maybe a couple other tech things that are like really popping at this moment?
And I'll share one. So for musicians who do have a community or an audience that they're trying to build, there's a new app or website called Rivet. It's RIVETT, and it's basically like a MailChimp but customized for artists. And so it can pretty much track who your biggest fans are on social media. It can track, who's opening your email notifications. I think pretty soon it'll have text message, SMS capabilities as well. So it's kind of an all-in-one. Really, right now it's free, so I'll definitely, hop on it before they put the paywall on it, because that's coming soon. But it started by a brother, Nigerian brothers, is the founder. So we definitely need more music technologists in the space that look like us. So I'll definitely try to, support Rivet if you can. I just started using it for Afro. It's been, really dope so far. And you can import all of your previous contacts into the app as well. So, I had a pretty significant email list already, and I didn't want to necessarily start over, so you can just import that over. And it does AI for you. So, like, say if you're dropping a bunch of music, but you don't have artwork for it, you can type in what you're looking for, black diaspora, beautiful people, and like spit out an image for you for cover art too. So like it's pretty dope in regards to like just the efficiency of it. Like you said, like you don't really need a whole army of people anymore. That used to be a whole job, for a publicist to do, of like managing your contacts and managing your email notifications and things like that. But now it's being automated, through AI and things like that. So.
Linktree. If y'all do not use Linktree, if you're an artist, I would terribly suggest that you use Linktree. Only because I feel like a lot of artists, when it comes to dropping records or dropping projects, and you got like 5 other things that you want like folks to look at, because for Social Aesthetics we also host new artists that we rock with, or artists that we love their sound or what have you. So it is a hassle trying to find cover art, trying to find like all those things when a person drops a new record, right? Versus if you have Linktree, you could have different things that I don't know if y'all know what Linktree is, but it's basically like something you put in your bio, and you can put like different links to things that you want folks to look at in your bio. So for example, for my page, I think I have like several different like photo essays that I've done, and I also have like my own photography page, and then the website for Unsocial Aesthetics. So that on some like just business, that's gonna help you be seen so much faster. When you drop a record and a person can go to the Linktree and see your website, see your YouTube channel, see whatever articles or interviews you've just done, like that gives them all they need to write like the best review about you. Because it's like people who are like, they work, but they also are lazy, so it's like make their job easier.
That's nice. Hey Jonathan, is Rivet the app that you were talking about, or was there something else?
No, it was something, and there's a couple of different apps that do this, but I think the one is called Vids, V-I-D-S, that he was using, and that I grabbed.
Found you.
Yeah, that found me. But also, as I was looking at that, CapCut is just nuts. It is nuts, and you don't even they have a lot of paid options. I've been working with this probably for like about a year now. I still have not paid for it. I should. I'm not pirating it, but there's just so much cool stuff they're giving you. And the dope thing is, you can work with it on your phone. You can work with it on your iPad. You can work with it on your desktop. So you can work with it in a lot of different areas and a lot of different places, and it just really does help you, get your brand together, have something consistent, find some things that as you have your motion visual, perspective that you're building and that you're sharing with everyone. It really helps with that.
I was just going to co-sign it, because not just for artists, but like agencies and corporations are using CapCut too. At my agency, my creative director uses CapCut for all of our social media posts. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Like,
and it's crazy. It's crazy too, because like it will transcribe like audio, and you can just put captions up, which used to be something that, like, you know, like until like last year, folks were paying a lot of money for an organization to do that. Because I paid a lot of money last year for a project for someone to do that. But yeah, to be able to do that quickly, instantly, just effortlessly is amazing. Even in another language, because I did something recently where someone sent me a video which was in Italian, and I was able to go ahead, find out what they said, and I went into to Google Translate and translated what they said from Italian to English and pasted it in, and it was really smooth. So yeah, it's a monster.
That's what I don't know if you had another question. I just wanted, it's like sparking my brain now. To use AI for things like that, whether it's like lyric transcriptions or captions, you know, automating your contact list, you know, doing social media posts, and like just all the like kind of monotonous things that you have to do as an artist now to survive. I think AI could help, you know, automate those things and kind of support you as an artist. I think the conversation has been focused on like AI taking people's jobs, and, you know, music being copywritten or copyright infraction with AI and whatnot. But I think the real opportunity is to leverage it to boost your audience and to boost your infrastructure in a more automated, more efficient way, to make the creativity like the main thing that you're able to focus on, right? So that's what I try to tell my students too. I just started teaching again at Columbia College, and AI has been like a big conversation as a teacher too, you know, grading papers and whatnot. But I try to not be, you know, afraid of it, or, you know, more so embrace the technology in order to just make the business work better, and really like target your audience in a more effective way. So
real quick, so I know a lot of people have heard about ChatGPT, and that's definitely like an AI phenomenon, but what's your go-to AI technology or piece of technology that you use?
Yeah, right now it would be ChatGPT, for sure. I haven't used it like as consistently as I should, but I think it's been good to just get creative concepts out of your head and on paper, and just have like an outline. So I actually used it to build my syllabus for my class. You know, I just was like, I need a 15-week syllabus for music business.
Let's go.
And it spit it out in like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, this is fire. Like, we on the AI wave now. And so
you go from there and customize it.
Exactly. Like that would have took me probably a week, you know, to figure out how I wanted to lay it out. But even just to have that as a starting place, you know, it definitely sped up the process. And I think as a songwriter, we got some amazing artists here. You know, we all go through our moments where inspiration might be not as high as it once was last week or the day before. And I think AI could help, you know, spark an idea, or even just if you need a creative exercise to do, just to like keep the you know, the wheels turning. That's a great place to start too. So yeah, ChatGPT is really dope. And even like as a strategist, you know, if you're looking for cultural insights, you know, you have like questions about, you know, certain kind of trends that are happening in the culture, or, you know, you need a more historical background or a way to speak to it in a way, when you're presenting yourself in pitch decks and sponsorship decks and stuff. I use it for that as well. So it's real powerful.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the syllabus thing, because I had a 2-hour seminar in Ohio that I was giving on my take on like the future of music and emerging aesthetics and this kind of a thing. And I put my syllabus together in like 5 seconds using ChatGPT. I used 98% of what they suggested. The only thing which I changed was like the introduction, you know, into everything, you know, having everyone introduce themselves, you know, but that was about it. And the other thing too, just real quickly, is that a lot of times it'll give you, bad input or bad, output, but it really helps you to focus what the hell it is you don't want, so that you can focus even more in on what you do want. Like, no, this is wrong. This is what I want. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that was what I wanted. So, yeah.
All right, so before we turn into cyborgs, I want to bring it back to this idea of the collective, and maybe flip, so all of you are coming from the perspective of an artist, creating space, curating space, directing, producing. Can we talk from a perspective of the people we're bringing in and the people that we're helping? What is this doing for them? Is this creating a sense of home? Is this creating a sense of mutual aid, as you mentioned? What is it doing for them, and what have you experienced in these spaces that have been created?
So I say this with love before I even go into it, right? Y'all all have seen the Chappelle Show, right? And so y'all know that scene where Dave Chappelle was like, it's all fun and games to be the first black person to do something. That's kind of how I be feeling sometimes when I be building with these artists. And the reason I say that is because, again, Chicago does not have infrastructure, right? So when we say that, we're saying like there's not a lot of labels, there's not a lot of A&Rs, there's not a lot of creative agencies that are like tirelessly going out and helping these artists with like artist development and helping them get what they need, right? So again, Unsocial Aesthetics is exactly that, a creative agency where we're teaching artists about artist development. So even things as simple as figuring out, their rollout, figuring out what apps you use to create your own visual content, even figuring out, oh, you would sound great with this person, or you sound great with that person, or you would, sound great with this producer, or let's, see what venue would want you to do a show for them, right? These are things that Chicago has never really had, right? And so for me, seeing these artists, because all the artists I'm building with right now have been in Chicago's music scene for at least 10 years. And that's the crazy part, because I wasn't counting on that, right? And mind you, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of artists that are like coming in that are brand new and all of that great stuff. But when we talk about the blog era, there were a lot of artists that were like right behind artists that got signed or got recognition, and then they never got that recognition, right? So they're now parents, a lot of them said, fuck Chicago, I'm out, and then they came back, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them just, have been quietly polishing their craft, polishing their, their skills. And so to your question, what we're doing is almost like a breath of fresh air for them, because a lot of them are trying to figure that out, right? So it's like, I'm building on an EP, I'm building on a project, I want to release a single. How do I go about doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what information? Because what we're doing right now would be technically like a consultation with an artist, you know what I'm saying? Where we're like checking in with them and being like, okay, what exactly do you need? You know what I'm saying? So maybe you're a producer, so you don't need beats. Maybe you need a feature, or you need someone that has an ear that really knows, your sound and can help you elevate your sound to the next level. Some stuff like that, right? To your other question, I've gone through the most interesting conversations in the past 2 years where like I'm building with one artist and like they'll see me just like on social media, like, oh yeah, he's working with such and such. And then they'll call me and cuss me out, like, oh, so you ain't never worked with me? You have woo? And I'm like, but I've been building with you for 5 years. Like, and I'm a photographer, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the time I do a lot of like build for the love, even though I really shouldn't. But I do that. I do that because I really, if I really believe in you, I'm gonna be like, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? And so at first I got offended because I'm just like, damn, like why is this artist feeling like that? You know what I'm saying? Like I really build with them, I talk to them, I check in with them, everything. And I had to realize that Chicago does not have entities where you're just building with the artist to get these resources. You know what I'm saying? So like when it comes to, I dare say, just any and everything that we would think would be very just like normal for an artist to have, like Chicago does not have that. And so again, when I say the first to do it, it's like, okay, I'm creating a creative agency, or one of the first creative agencies that are very consistent with building on an artist and like helping them with their artist development, which leads them to getting recognized or any of that, right? And so it's becoming almost like a thing where it's like there isn't a lot of it, so everyone is like, I dare say, trying to get or claw their way in, or like they're trying to see or beat out the other person. And so we have to keep reminding folks we're not building like that. You know what I mean? It's like we are trying to help everybody, and we're trying to build with everybody. Now, can we do that? Obviously not. But that's been, and again, this is still growing. This is still, you know, unfolding. And so for me, I think that's been something I've been really learning is how to be the bigger person in those situations, and really bring it back to business, or bring it back to, you know, explaining how this scene works. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I've been in it for 10 years. I've been in it since 14, 15. So it's like a lot of the ups and downs of like, how do you interact with an artist? Or how do you, you know, even tell an artist when you need boundaries even. Like that's just something I've been learning a lot about, because I'll immediately take a call at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. An artist is like, yo, I got this idea for a project. And I'm like, I bet, let's write it down. And I probably should be asleep because I got work in the morning or something like that. So, yeah.
I think you spoke something that's really important. So we are in Bronzeville right now, and I've been having conversations a lot about, well, I'm not gonna go in that route. So, but I've been thinking a lot about how Bronzeville ain't popping like Bronzeville should be popping. And there's a lot of, like, I'm talking about like where's the art? Like, I mean, we got a couple of murals, but like, where can we walk down the street and go in this place and then go in this place, and as it was back in the day, you know? And I brought that up because it takes a movement. It takes multiple creative agencies. It takes multiple labels. It takes multiple promoters. It takes multiple managers, you know? And that is probably what plagues us, is that everybody's an artist. You know, I even the idea, I used to tell one of my closest music boys, like, yo, you can't be dependent on other artists to show up at your shows, because they doing their own shows, or they're in the studio, or they're trying to figure it out, you know. And so I think there's a point that you mentioned as well, like about that, but I think that there's pros and cons to this problem, or great problem that we have, that there's just so many artists in the city, you know. But it has to be a movement in order to service more people. It can't just be Unsocial Aesthetics, you know, asking an artist, what do you need? That's powerful. That is so powerful. That's not what labels did. Even when you was watching the Quincy Jones documentary, and they were talking about Michael Jackson's creative direction, he was like, I'm the producer. I told Michael Jackson what to sing, which songs we were going to put on the album. And I was like, wow, that is how it went. This is a new day. Like, to be able to go to for an artist, to be able to have someone who truly wants to help them and say, yo, what is it that you need right now? You know, I think it's amazing. We just need more of that. We need more of a movement, so we don't have people cursing you out because they didn't get called. They're not a part of the number right now, even though they've been a part of the number for the last 5 years. You know,
it's almost like there needs to be a revolution in some of the other business-oriented communities, specifically marketing and advertising. You know, and then honestly, even collectives of individuals who may have financial resources or means to get certain things done, and genuinely looking